Okay, we have told you our top fives for Nintendo, but what about non-Nintendo characters? With the introduction of Snake and Sonic in Brawl, the idea arose that maybe other characters could have a chance to appear in a Smash Bros. Game. So, with that being said, what is your number five for non-Nintendo characters?
Glad you asked. My number five for non-Nintendo characters. This is probably very predictable and very obvious, but I know it had to be done. And that is Knuckles and Tails to finish up the Sonic trio. I know a lot of people want a Shadow, but when you think over Shadow, it's just
I thought we agreed one character per franchise.
Shadow wasn't included. I mean, I was going to say that a lot of people want a Shadow instead, and I was thinking of that, but Shadow is pretty much just a clone of Sonic, so.
Yeah,
Knuckles
but
and
you would
Tails
you would
instead.
have to choose between Tails and Knuckles for this list.
I was thinking kind of both
Nah.
in one spot. Come on. But if I
Eh.
have to choose about one, it's probably gonna be Tails. Because it's cool.
Nah, I would have to say Knuckles. He would fit much better,
Nah.
just as a pure beatdown character.
I like Tails because I like characters that can fly a lot, like Kirby. I mean, like fly. I like characters that can fly because that's the only way I managed to beat boss battles on Intense.
This is true.
Or I've never beaten boss battles on Intense, but I've came very close, and that was Kirby because he can fly. Yeah, but anyways, on to your number five.
My number five is a character whose heyday was in the early 2000s. He had a few really great games, and then they decided to change his formula up a little bit and have him ride monsters and other things like that. So I think an appearance in the Smash series would be a good return to form for him. Crash Bandicoot. In the Crash games, he got a variety of different abilities that includes the spin and the super jump. I could see those being his recovery moves and just like all of his different interesting attacks that he could do. Final Smash, of course, being the fruit rocket thing that he has, or maybe a combination of some of his other moves. But it would be interesting. Alright, continuing on with our list, what is your number four pick for top five non-Nintendo characters, Sir Wolfie?
Yeah, my number four is probably not an expected one, and it's none other than Mickey Mouse, or should I say Epic Mickey Mouse, from the Epic Mickey series, or not a series, it's just one game. Have you played it before, or?
I have. I've not beaten it, but I've played it.
Yeah, and I own it. I think it's an okay game, and I think it's very cool in Super Smash Bros. See how some of Mickey's Mouse with Mickey Mouse with the paintbrush and how his moves could be, and it pretty cool. And it has the eraser and the drawer, or should I say painter,
Paint
and
and
it's been
thinner.
yeah, it'd be pretty cool if you can see moves based on his paintbrush, and I think Mickey should get some recognition too, because Disney haven't made that many games for Nintendo, but I think Mickey Mouse is a very known character, and I think he should be included.
Although I think the fee to get him into a Smash Bros. Game would be a bitch, though. That's the only problem I see with that, but that is an interesting idea.
Yeah, and I thought if you're gonna add Mickey, then why not add that Mickey from the Epic Mickey series, because it's on the Wii, so.
Yeah.
And it's very cool to see him with the paintbrush, and in that game, I don't know much about Disney games, but I think that's one of the few games that Mickey actually have attacking, and
Yeah.
have it, like he attacks with the paintbrush, and
Yep.
yeah. So, you're number four.
My number four is a pretty obvious choice, just because of the type of things that he can do. My number four is Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank. Like Snake, he is a weapon user, and he has probably some of the most interesting weapons in any video game series. And I could see them using that to great effect in the Smash Brothers universe. For example, his final smash could be him throwing the disco ball. And any player who is in the vicinity of the disco ball will be made to start dance uncontrollably while Ratchet prepares the Rhino launcher, and he'll jump off the screen onto one of his ships and just blast whoever's dancing with the Rhino launcher for massive, hitting the weak points for massive damage. That would probably be a very interesting Final Smash, and apart from that, he's got all these different wrench attacks and regular weapons that he could use. Not to mention his jumping abilities, he would be able to wall jump and things like that. Would be pretty interesting to see, I'm not gonna lie.
I can't believe I didn't think of that. Ratchet and Clank is like my all-time favorite series on any console.
Uh-huh.
So I have no idea why I didn't think of that. And that disco ball idea, disco ball was my favorite weapon
In
Ratchet and
future.
Clank series.
That disco ball would be the perfect setup for Final Smash. Like throw the ball. If anyone gets caught in the disco ball, then the Rhino thing happens. If nobody gets caught in the disco ball, nothing happens. But
Yeah.
if all three characters are caught in that disco ball, oh, it would be funny as hell.
Yeah. Oh, that disco ball. I remember when I was playing Ratchet and Clank and be very tired, I just laughed my ass off every time I saw
Yes.
someone dance at the disco ball. It was just the funniest weapon in the whole Ratchet and Clank series.
Or another Final Smash you could have is, you know that gun that turns your opponents into chickens? You
Yeah.
could do that as the Final Smash. Fire that shot, and if anyone is in the way, they get turned into a chicken for maybe 30 seconds, and they can't attack or do anything like that, and you could just wail on them. It would be pretty interesting. Either way, preferably the disco ball, because that's so much funnier. But
Yeah, but
yeah,
it'd be very cool because if you have Clank on the back, then he can fly and use a different.
yeah, Clank would be on the back just because of his recoveries, the thruster pack or the helipack, whichever one they decide to do. Other than that, Clank will serve no purpose whatsoever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I figured Ratchet has to be in the game somehow, but he's too popular or too obvious for me to put any higher than number 4 because I think there are better characters that would fit, but Ratchet would just be too good not to pass up.
Yeah. And he probably has the best and most creative weapon
Oh
in
yeah.
all games.
Yeah. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is actually a character from my childhood. I played on the PlayStation 2, and I don't think he has been on the Wii. I know one game that recently came out and he had been on the Wii, but I don't know anyway. And that's from none other than Rayman.
Oh man, why didn't I think of Rayman? Goddamn.
I just love how his arms and feet are connected to his body, and that means he can like do lots of attacking in the Rayman Origins, which is a game that just arrived on the PS3
I
and
know
Wii
about
and
it.
so on. He does a lot of slapping, like he slaps his enemy all the time, and I think that would be a pretty cool move.
Like his standard 3 hit combo is a triple bitch slap. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I know his feet are connected to his body, and it's very cool, and I can like it, and I remember playing Rayman M and Rayman 3, and he didn't really have. I was thinking at it, I don't remember the name of him, but it was a Toad guy. He always thinks it is that Blue Toad or whatever.
Hmm.
I was thinking of adding him because he has some interesting moves too. But I don't know if Rayman can fly with his hair. It's pretty cool, and that would go for a recovery move. But anyway, I think a pretty cool character how he runs and how his feet and arms are connected, but it's just awesome.
No, that would be a pretty awesome character. I definitely cannot disagree with you on that one.
Yeah, I would just love to have him in there.
Like you with Ratchet, I'm surprised I didn't think of that one, but eh. What you gonna do? Disco
Yeah,
ball for the win.
yeah, okay, and onto your list again.
My number 3 is nowhere near as interesting as Ratchet, or nowhere near as notable as Crash. But given the fact that Snake was added in Brawl, I don't think it would be too far fetched for them to have a different type of assassin melee weapon combination person. So to fit that bill, I chose Joanna Dark from the Perfect Dark series. Yes, she appeared in the N64, but she recently came out on the Xbox Live Arcade, the re-releasing of Perfect Dark, and since she is a Microsoft character now, I think it only fitting for her to make a return to Nintendo at least once in the form of Smash Brothers. You want to think of how she would make a good fighter? Just look at Snake with all the ways he used his different weapons and gadgets that I'm pretty sure Joanna got too. But since I've never played Perfect Dark, I don't know exactly what she can do, but I can imagine that she has a lot of hand-to-hand type attacks as well as weapons. So she just seemed like a good fit because of that. If they were able to make Snake a Brawl character, they can do the same with her. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, pretty nice choice. I think
I don't think many people would have seen her coming.
I didn't see her coming, but yeah, nice choice.
What is your number 2?
My number two was originally supposed to be number one, but then I came up with number one, and probably have to wait with number one because my number two is Mega Man, and I'm not sure if he's a Nintendo character.
No, he's not. He's Capcom.
Yeah, I know. I heard I heard something that he was like a Nintendo character, but I
No,
looked it up and he seems to be a Capcom character. So
he is a Capcom character. Granted, a lot of his games have appeared on Nintendo consoles, but he's always been a third-party character, and he probably always will be unless Capcom goes under. Or if they decide to drop the Mega Man license because they're not doing anything with it, really.
yeah, and I
But
don't know
my
too much
my
about.
big question to you is which incarnation of Mega Man?
Yeah, that was just about what I was going to say because I haven't played much Mega Man, but the 2D versions, the pixelated 2D, is the ones I played. And one of the games I played is like he beats a boss and then he gets a better weapon, like a better shooting weapon.
Yep.
And I think like he worked kind of like Shamus, Samus, I don't know how to
Samus.
pronounce it. Samus or Shamus,
Not
whatever.
Seamus. It's a shame for fame lost her head.
Yeah, anyway, he kind of worked like Samus, like have a gun and charge it up and use different kinds of weapons and different kinds of yeah, cause how he earns it for the bosses and use better weapons and
It's
I think
interesting that you choose Mega Man as your number 2. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah, I don't know, I like Mega Man. He's kind of cool. It's like and yeah, I don't know how much suit he has. Sometimes he takes different suits, like he purse, but he often sort of person in blue. I think
Yeah.
I don't know much about Ben, but I think it'd be cool, like you said. Need more shooter guys. Like there's many people with guns in Brawl. Like Shaman.
I think that if they were going to use different colors of Mega Man, they would have to use the different colors he gets for all his power-ups. Like red Mega Man, blue Mega Man, green Mega Man, gray, things like that. I think that would be the only way they would be able to pull up the different colors, but eh.
Yeah. Okay. No. On to your number two.
My number 2, blatantly obvious, and then not so blatantly obvious at the same time. He's only appeared in 3 games, one of which is a cult classic. The first one was a racing game that rivaled Mario Kart. I am, of course, referring to the always over-the-top Red Squirrel, Conker.
Oh,
Anyone who knows anything about Conker the Squirrel with his
And
in the Conker's Bad Fur Day game, he he got a lot of different tools to use. And he could use his tail to attack people. He could use the legendary frying pan of great destruction. He could use the katana sword, a bunch of different guns. But he also has his platforming, which could be implemented with different forms of attacks and recovery. Like his up B could be the helicopter tail to let him fly a little bit. And let's not forget his context sensitive abilities, which, like his down B could be him turning into a what's it called again? The weight that comes crashing down, kind of like Kirby, but an actual weight, and a bunch of different other things. I could see his final. I don't even know what his final smash would be. He's got so many different tools at his disposal, but I don't. I know what his final smash could be. If you've have you first off, have you played Conker's Bad Fur Day and have you gotten to the last level?
I played Bad Fur Day for like uh, many years ago with a friend. I was playing on N64, and that was probably the most violent game I played back there. It looked like
Yes.
a pretty nice game, but then
Yes.
suddenly they got throwing knives, and yeah, I was
In
pretty
the
young when I
final
first played
battle,
it.
in the final battle of Conker's Bad Fur Day, you fight an alien, from the Alien series, and he gets into the mecha suit from the Alien series. That mecha suit has to be his final smash. And you can just go around the screen just punching the crap out of people. It gets the hover jet thing, which could let him hover and attack that way. It would be it would function kind of like the Landmaster, but more maneuverable. So that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I think if they're gonna add him, then there's one thing I wanted to add, and that if you know when he had that boss battles with the giant piece of crap, literally, he
Mm,
fights a giant poop monster, and he throws toilet paper at him.
yep.
Yeah, I want to see if he was in the game. Then the only thing I want to see if he is he throwing toilet paper.
That would be an
That
interesting
move,
attack, not gonna lie.
just like Yoshi throwing eggs, he's throwing toilet paper. Okay,
Yep. What is your number one?
number one, who I actually is a weak character, and it's it's almost not known at all, or I think it's known after a common Let's Player picked up the game and played it. So he, or should I say she, got some recognition. And I got it on Wii too. It's probably one of the best Wii games I ever played. And some people, mostly people say it's a copy of Twilight Princess, but I say it's not at all. It's a unique game, and I love
I
the
know
concept.
exactly which one you're talking about too.
Yeah, and that character
Say her
is
name.
Amaterasu
Amaterasu.
from Okami,
Yes.
and she has a lot of weapons, and I don't know how they can work this out, but I was thinking that Final Smash could be like use one of the divine powers or something like that. I don't know how that work out, but his moves or she's move,
Her moves.
her moves, of course, could be pretty interesting depending on all of the weapons she have. But I think it'd be pretty cool, like how she uses her weapons in fights in Okami is pretty cool actually. How you, especially with the string of beads or whatever it
That
is,
you can
all the
shoot, yeah.
all the weapons with strings of beads and how you can shoot ink bullets, and I think her move is pretty awesome, and the game is very underrated, but the
It's
graphics are
not underrated.
fantastic, the gameplay is fantastic, the fighting mechanism, how you draw on the screen to attack is fantastic, and I think I just think that adding her to the game would be fantastic.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's my number one, a clear number one actually. And your number one is that what we're waiting for?
Yes.
Okay.
I had said how it's funny that you chose Mega Man for your number two. When people think of a character from the Mega Man series, they normally think of the Blue Bomber himself. They don't really think about his support characters. Now, if they were to think of a support character, they would probably instantly say Proto Man, and how Proto Man should be in the game. I think a little bit differently. Proto Man would be good, but he would basically be a carbon copy of Mega Man. He wouldn't really have anything to differentiate himself from his brother apart from the shield, but really that wouldn't do much. So I chose someone a little bit differently. I chose a character who can be a combination of both Mega Man with his shooting and another style. The character I chose to be the number one non-Nintendo character I want to see in the next Smash Bros. Game, none other than the legendary Maverick Hunter Zero. Now, obvious or not obvious, I don't really care, but after seeing Zero in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom and Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the moveset he has in that game is really, really good. I can see them easily implementing something like that into Brawl. As anyone who knows Zero knows, he can shoot his Buster and he has his sword, which is very quick attacks. A combination of those two would be essential for a Smash Bros. Character. Like his standard B could be the charge shot, and the directional Bs could be different types of sword attacks. Like up B could be his flaming sword attack, which could be used as recovery. And as for the Final Smash, anyone who knows about the X series knows that Zero gets a special transformation in like Zero's 4 through 6 that makes him even stronger and faster. That is, of course, the Black Zero outfit. His Final Smash could be him changing into Black Zero. And Black Zero would basically make him move a lot faster, make him hit a lot harder, and he would get a special attack that you could implement after charging B. Like instead of your normal charge shot, you would get the Giga attack that Zero has, where he punches the ground and sends energy all over the screen, just hitting whatever is in its path. That could be his Final Smash, which I think that would work very well. But not many people give Zero credit in that sense because, you think Mega Man, you think of the actual Blue Bomber himself or any of his various incarnations. So, that's my reason for making Zero number one. I don't think there's a single character that would work in Brawl in a Smash Bros. Game better than Zero in terms of style and things like that. But you guys can feel free to agree or disagree all you want, and if you so choose, you can leave a comment in the comment section with your top 5 characters that you want to see from either Nintendo or non-Nintendo, or if you want to give a mix. It doesn't really... You can do whatever you want to do. You can leave a video response if you want. That would actually work out all the more better, because I like seeing what other people have to say about topics like this. So there's really no one set list of characters as me and Wolfie have shared. We did not have one single character that matched at all. We had 20 different characters that we could see put into a Smash Brothers game, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, that was surprised me a lot. We didn't even have one character that matched, and
Exactly.
say, and we didn't know about each other's list, so
Yep.
you see the possibilities is endless.
Yep. And it was funny because me and Wolfie were talking about this before we started it, and we're like, there's not many to choose from. And look at what we did. We got 20 different characters that one character per franchise, although he kind of broke that rule with Tails and Knuckles, but eh.
Eh,
The only reason why Clank is allowed on that is because he would basically just function as a backpack. He wouldn't actually get to do anything, so that's why he's kind of allowed. But yeah, you guys can leave your own list if you want in the comment section, or do a video response to this video with your top fives for whichever side you want to do, or both. You know, it's always, like I said, it's always fun seeing what other people have to say. Wolfie, thank you for sharing the idea to do this. This was actually a lot of fun to come up with these kind of lists and reasons why. And truth be told, we kind of scratched the surface on what these characters can do, but it was all worth it. It was all in good fun.
yeah.
So, with that being said, take us away.
Take us away.
Worst sign off ever.
I don't even think that's a song.
Do it properly, good sir.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say goodbye.
Wow, you suck. I am Silver Wolf 20. He is Wolfie XP. We
I'm
will
getting tired, so
we will see you guys later.
yeah.
Take care and all that other stuff.
Bye.
Bye.